let's look at the derivation of the law of cosines. This is pretty quick, and we've been doing that. It's really doing a shortcut or streamlining a process that we already know how to do. So here's the situation. We've got the triangle ABC. We're given A and B, so two sides and the included angles. It's very, very important that it's SAS data. So we've got side A, angle C, and side B. One of the conventions I'm using here is people always do this for law of sines and law of cosines and a lot of trig problems, is that we're using, as usual, capital letters for vertices of a triangle, and then the corresponding lowercase letter for the opposite side. So instead of calling this like AB, we're just calling it little c. And this is little b, this is little a. So we're going to use that convention pretty much a lot, almost exclusively, when we talk about these kinds of laws. Now, of course, I've also drawn what we usually do to do this as a multi-step trig problem. I've dropped an altitude from A to side A, and we know from doing these problems that it's really useful to find x and find y. And one thing I want to say about what we're going to expect to get here is that it's really a generalization of Pythagoras, because suppose that angle C was actually itself a right angle, so it looked like this, then here's that same triangle, and then I don't have to drop an altitude here, it's already a right angle, and we know we should get a squared plus b squared equals c squared, right? So let's just remind ourselves of that, because it's going to look pretty similar to that. So it's going to say c squared is a squared plus b squared in that very, very special case. Okay. So that's good, just good to keep in mind. But let's go back to the real thing. So we're going to do a variation of what we've been doing in these multi-step trig problems. And I'm going to work backwards, and that's going to help us do something that's really going to streamline it. We're going to minimize. We cannot eliminate the trig. It's called the law of cosines after all. But we're actually going to just isolate the trig needed to one little spot. Okay, so we know that there's two easy equations that are really crucial here. One is the last step. This is going to be true for us as well. The last step of the problem, if you're trying to find C, if you know h and y, then you just use Pythagoras. Okay, so that's cool. Okay, we also know that y is easy to find if we first find x. Okay, so that's cool. So we can actually combine those already. So c squared is h squared plus a minus x all squared. Ooh, this is a great place to use a perfect square trinomial. So that's h squared plus a squared minus 2ax plus x squared. Okay, so this is a crucial bit of algebra. The perfect square trinomial comes in here. Okay, so but what do we not know yet? Well, we don't have h and we don't have x yet, but we know ways to find them. So here's what we've been typically doing. We've used a cosine to find x and a sine to find h. But like I said, we want to really streamline the trig. And the way I often say it is, suppose you're down to just one button, one press of one trig button on your calculator, and then the trig part's going to die. Can we still do this? And we certainly can. Okay, so notice that we don't really need h itself, we just need h squared. And hey, we can use Pythagoras to get in this left-hand side triangle. So we know we're going to use Pythagoras to finish off the problem to get c squared in terms of h and y, and that's what we've written off already. But if I get x, and that's going to be the linchpin of the whole thing, if I get x, then I can certainly get h from x and b. And so what's that look like? H squared is going to be, let's fill that in, h squared is going to be b squared minus x squared. That's a very standard kind of backwards Pythagoras. We know that h squared plus x squared is b squared. And so to get h squared, if we have b and x, then we can get h squared very easily. Okay, we are so close. Okay, so what the heck? Let's see, c squared, I'm just going to plug that in here. So c squared is now b squared minus x squared minus 2ax. hey, that's kind of cool. We've already got a cancellation here. And so that's just b squared. Oop, I forgot one term. That's kind of silly. I was like, where'd the other term go? It's kind of important. There we go. Okay. I guess it really comes in here. Doesn't really matter. Okay. So the a squared became a b squared minus x squared. Everything else stays the same. And I do get a cancellation. So I get a b squared plus a squared. Oh my God. Wait a minute. Look at this. It is really like Pythagoras. It's just got one extra term because the minus x squared and the x squared cancel. So I haven't used any trig yet so far. This is already a really kind of a cool thing. If it's a kind of an unusual circumstance, but it does happen actually. If somebody gives you the A and the B and this angle, and also gives you how far it is from C to the foot of the altitude, then you've got a purely algebraic formula that's just a little bit more complicated than Pythagoras. And now we just use the fact that, oh, wait a minute, we know that x over b is cosine c. That's usually one of the first steps that you guys have been doing in the multi-step process. X over b is cosine, and therefore x is just b cosine c. And then we're just about done. We're just going to take this, and this was our desired thing. If all we knew was a, b, and angle c, I could just plug that in here. Yay! So it looks exactly like an extended version of Pythagoras. It's c squared is b squared plus a squared. Usually people do that in alphabetical order. I'll just rewrite it. Minus 2ab cosine c. And really, it was just turning some of the methods that you guys were doing in specific numerical examples into an algebraic shortcut. And we'll look at examples and a bit of a subtlety that happens when C is an obtuse angle. This, really, I should have said that at the start. So far, this has only been demonstrated for C, an acute angle. And you might think, does it even mean anything for an obtuse angle? It does, but we're going to have to actually stretch things a little bit, stretch our understanding of trig just a little bit to make that make sense. But that'll be either in class or another video.